Hello. So I've pre-pulled these cards. We have the Queen of Swords with the Tower, the Four of Pentacles, Hierophant, Justice, Seven of Pentacles, the Star, the Six of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Fool. So it looks like you are going about your business, minding your own business, actually, I should say. Minding your own business, kind of head in, not the clouds, but in the books. You're working a lot. You're focusing on your own self, your own monetary gain, whatever it is. But there's also a lot of people around you that are trying to mess with your outcome. They want to mess with your justice. They want to mess with your relationships. They want it towering down. They want it all to crash. They don't want you to have any stability with the Four of Pentacles. And they talk a lot of shit. They lie a lot. They spread rumors on purpose to defame you, to ruin your character. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are willing to listen and believe without proper evidence. That's called flying monkeys. But you're shining in your own right, and whether or not you know of all the chatter around you, you could feel it on an intuitive level, whether or not you know specifically what people are lying about you about, or maybe you don't know at all. Maybe you just have a slight hint of that around you when people's energy changes. The first day you meet them, they're very nice. The second day you meet them, they're giving you this really strange face. One of hatred. If you remain steadfast in yourself and centered, this won't necessarily affect you, but we're all human and we all get affected. Even if it's not internally of us getting affected by it, we're externally affected by it by having other people chime in on the bullying, the lying, the slandering. And they're willing to do anything to make your tower fall. They're willing to do anything to not let you build properly. They're willing to do anything to keep you from being in front of a large group of people. They just want to mess with it. They feel like they could put your own karmic justice in their hands. And yes, it does work temporarily. But this is what I'm getting, weirdly enough. I don't even want to talk about this. They want to help. They want to fuck with your decision making, right? And always make you look like the fool. Even though you are a star, you are the star. You're shining brightly because you're focusing on yourself and you're good and you radiate positivity. You're not hating people. You're not focusing on other people. You're focusing on yourself. And while you level up and shine, there's people that are willing to do anything to kind of cut you down and keep you in this indecisive place, to keep your confidence at bay or confused, and to keep you always looking like a fool. So this is the scenario that I'm getting. This is not a generalized statement about people. Obviously, there's good and bad people in all walks of life, shapes, cultures, sizes, genders, blah, 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 right? So this is not a blanket statement, but there is a scenario that comes to the forefront here. And I'm not really sure why this happens, but there is a really good example of an explanation of why this happens in real life in the show The White Lotus. If you've ever watched it, there's a point in the show where a man is speaking to another man and they're confessing with one another, they're friends, and they're having a conversation about, their sexuality, their sex life. And this man, comes off as heterosexual in the public, but he is coming from it in a very narcissistic place. So when someone just dives into their own narcissistic tendencies, no matter how much of a personality deficiency that they have, I'll call it, they will first become a major player, right? This narcissistic heterosexual quote unquote man will first become a major player. They will date a lot of women. They will have relations with everybody. Nothing's off limits. And they will show to the world how superior they are because of how much access they have to females. But they're not looking at females in a loving sense. They're looking at females as an object because, again, a narcissist looks at everything as an object. What can it do for me? So besides the gratification that comes with, the obvious, it's a conquering and it's a list. It's like putting notches on your headboard, if you're old enough to understand. Like they collect humans for their own confidence. They're not lovers. They're actually haters of women, and they choose to abuse them. One of these, so basically after they become a player, a narcissist always wants more, and more, right? That's the human ego unchained. I want more. I want it up the ante. I got to do more. I got to make it more exciting. And where is the limit? Where's the ceiling? So it gets to a point where this player has done everything, done everybody, tried everything, and they're just like, where do I go now? Now they get to a point where they start seething in their hatred towards women, and they feel like they want to become one themselves. They feel like they could be better than what they've encountered. Those low-lying fruits that they would look like. They look at women like that. And they feel like they could do it better. So now they start to become one themselves. Also because of the narcissism, they're in love with themselves. And they feel like they could feel even more gratification if someone just wanted them the same as how men usually want women, right? There's a power in it that they don't want to admit, that men just want women naturally, and women have this sort of feminine power that they yearn to have. They're envious of the female power. They want it for themselves because they've gotten everything else. They've tried to take it from women by having relationships with them, which we'll call it relationships, but they still can't get it. So then they up the ante. Then they become homosexual, right? Because now they're feeding into their narcissism more. And through that, they also up their ante in the amount of hate that they have towards females. These are the type of people that will abuse them, torture them, set them up for failure, talk shit about them, act like little bees, basically. They act like a catty 16-year-old girl, and this could be an adult man doing this, right? Another part of this is that they are in love with their mothers. They are enmeshed with them. Now, of course, there's if you don't study this, you might not know the difference between loving your mother greatly and then being in love with her and dating her almost. A narcissistic man has a relationship with his mom that is so enmeshed that even his own wife can't get in between. His own wife isn't treated the same way. His own wife isn't loved the same way. And it's really sick because you could see it once you know it with people like this. And I'm not saying all homosexual men are like this either. So please, I love me, I love all the people. There's also really, really deep, emotional, sensitive gay men out there too. So let's just be real. But there's a certain type of bad man out there that hates women so much because he's envious of the power that she instills that he can never have. And on top of it, the narcissism is like, he loves himself so much. He also is dating his mother, and good luck trying to explain that to him or his mother. And good luck trying to date a man like this if you think you're dating a heterosexual man. Just saying. Just saying. So this person acts like a 16-year-old teenager. They will, just like any catty, narcissistic female would, they will engage in gossip, lying, slander, talking shit, setting you up socially. They will, if you're in a group with them and they're taking a picture at a party, they will purposely crop you out of the picture to separate you, to isolate you, because they hate you. They hate that you get attention. They hate that you get any sort of attention, and they want it for themselves. These are the type of people I've seen in real life. A grown man that calls himself heterosexual because he's married to a female that has no idea what's going on, even though he's not. Just scream over, just cheering for another male at this event. And he was cheering like a 12-year-old girl at a Justin Bieber concert. He was going nuts. He was having a hissy fit. He loved this man on stage so much. And it wasn't just like him cheering him on and clapping and being supportive. This man was acting like a 12-year-old girl. And he was in his 30s. And he was calling himself a heterosexual man. And it's not about crying or doing any of that. But the signs are so obvious that some really ignorant people will overlook, including his wife. His wife doesn't even realize it. But then at the same time, his wife never gets any credit for anything. It's always him and his mother. Him and his mother go out dancing. Him and his mother pose for pictures. Him and his mother own a business together. Him and his mother are always together, holding hands, dancing together. Do you see what I'm saying here? So you have to look carefully at people and what they're doing, because it could be very sinister sometimes. They could also set you up to fail on camera, to keep you looking like the fool, like this card. If you were unfortunate enough to have to deal with them in some sort of setting, they will try to set you up to make you look bad, to try to take your power away, to try to take any sort of credit away from you. They will give you false instruction. So as soon as you are on camera, they will make you look bad on purpose. This is all coming from envy. They want to misdirect you so bad that you don't stand out in any way. And in the very dark cases, these are the type of men like all the Epsteins out there, the Hefners, all of them. They all hate women. And they're all homosexual. So this is not a blanket statement. And please don't be offended if you are homosexual. It's about a personality type, a character, and it exists. And there's a lot more people, men, quote unquote, that act like this out of pure narcissism, envy, and hatred. So these are very dangerous men because, again, our society kind of gives men a little bit more power over things and likes to write off women as victims and their testimony. But these are exactly the type of men that they are. And if you watch The White Lotus, the men can explain it a little bit even more if you are more interested in that personality, but it does exist. And I wanted to say this, even though I didn't want to say it. You just have to be careful, because if you are a female and you are getting just mirrored with hatred with a lot of people look at you in hatred, people look at you in disgust for reasons unbeknownst to you. It's not just females that do this to other females, it's also men that do this to females. So if you are somewhat of an attractive female, you don't only have other females trying to bring you down and cut you, right, socially, you have men doing it to you too. So again, it is a very small part of this of society, but it does exist, and it should be known that there are bullies. There are men that bully women all the time. It's been going on in history, but it's not just physical abuse. It's also mental and societal abuse as well, and they're not above gossiping. They're not above lying and acting like little fools themselves, because again, a narcissist is just a 2-year-old in a sandbox, and they don't want you to play, and they want all the nice toys, and they want all the attention on themselves, and they'll kick and throw sand at you and make these hissy fits happen when they don't get their way, and they're dangerous. So the only thing that you could do to protect yourself against narcissistic personality disorder, especially, we're all narcissistic a little bit, but the ones with the big personality disorders, the more you know about it, the more you'll recognize it in real life, and the more you can protect yourself faster from these types of people, because they're slippery, they're snaky, and they'll fuck with your mind, for a very long time until you figure it out yourself. And they'll know when you figure it out too. They're very keen on that. But once you show a narcissist that you know what you're looking at and you're not accepting their bullshit, they kind of cower because they're cowards. All right. So you have to put them in their place. But the only way to protect yourself against male or female narcissists is to have education on it and to constantly read up on the tactics that they use against other people.